Welcome to Sex Ed with DB. I'm your host, DB. Let's get into it. Hi, welcome back to another more Sex Ed episode. We are talking all about oral herpes today. I feel like this is a topic that we have maybe talked about a little while ago, but it's always good for a herpes refresher. I recently saw a TikTok from Jill Listener, aka Sex Ed Princess, and it was her just sitting us down with a cup of tea, being like, "We're going to talk about it. We have to. We're talking about herpes." And I loved the candor and the energy because so often we have been told from like movies and culture and health class that herpes is this scary butt of the joke and we shouldn't get it, or kind of like Coach Carr, we're all going to get herpes and die. But the truth is that especially oral herpes is way more common than you think. So let's go ahead and get started with the question. The question is, does getting cold sores mean you have herpes? Me and many other people I know have had them sometimes since we were children and before we were sexually active. And if it does mean herpes, should I be worried or seek medical attention? Let's get you the answers that you need. Great question. Destigmatizing STIs is really important to me and the whole Sex Ed with DB team. And so I'm going to share a bunch of information about herpes today. But first, as you know, I love trivia. Go ahead and take a guess. Guess how many American adults have oral herpes, aka HSV1. Did you guess? Just seriously, close your eyes. Just take a guess. What percentage of American adults do you think have HSV1? The stat from Johns Hopkins is 50 to 80% of American adults have oral herpes, which causes cold sores or fever blisters in or around the mouth. That's a fuck ton of people. That's over half of the population. And by the way, all of this information that I'm going to share with you today is from the Mayo Clinic. You can Google Mayo Clinic herpes 1 and check out the same article. We can even put it in the description of this episode. But let's talk a little bit more about them. So now you know how common that they are. So hopefully that should make you feel less ashamed if you're someone who's ever gotten a cold sore. But cold sores or fever blisters are a common viral infection. They are tiny fluid-filled blisters on and around the lips, and these blisters are often grouped together in patches, or they could just have one. After the blisters break, a scab forms that can last for a couple days, and cold sores usually heal in 2 to 3 weeks without leaving a scar. How do they spread? They spread from person to person by close contact, such as kissing or sharing a cup. They're usually caused by the herpes simplex virus, aka HSV1, and less commonly, herpes simplex virus type 2. It is possible for herpes 2, which is typically in the genital region, to show up in the mouth, but it's more common for HSV1 to be on the mouth and vice versa. So HSV1 can show up on the genitals, but again, more common for HSV1 to be associated with the mouth and HSV2 associated with the genitals. And so both of these viruses, again, can affect the mouth or the genitals and can be spread by oral sex. And the virus can spread even if you don't see the sores. So even if you don't see anything coming, there's a shedding period where, if you're kissing or sharing a glass or going down on someone, it is possible to transmit it. And while there's no cure, treatment can help manage outbreaks. So prescription antiviral medicine or creams can help sores heal more quickly, and they may make future outbreaks happen less often and be shorter and less serious. So maybe you're wondering, what exactly are the symptoms that I should be looking out for if I'm someone who gets cold sores, or I want to look out for them and make sure that I don't spread them, or just know how to manage it better when it happens. And a cold sore usually passes through several stages. So the first stage is like tingling or itching or like a burning sensation around the lips or near kind of the spot where you usually get it. A day or so before like a small hard painful spot appears and sometimes blisters. Then a blister could form, there's fluid inside it. It could form like along the border of the lips or inside the mouth, sometimes around the nose or the cheeks. And then there's kind of this like oozing and crusting that happens. So small blisters might merge and then they might burst. This can leave, a shallow open sore. But these symptoms really vary, like depending on whether it's your first outbreak or a recurrence. The first time that you have a cold sore, symptoms may not start for up to 20 days after you were first exposed to the virus. And the sores can last for several days, and the blisters can take 2 to 3 weeks to heal completely. And if they return, they'll often appear at the same spot each time and tend to be less severe than the first outbreak. And I know for myself, I get cold sores. I have oral herpes. Don't know how I got it, probably from kissing, probably from sharing a cup. Again, like most people have it. And I usually get them inside my mouth, like one kind of like on the roof of my mouth, like in the same spot, and then one like kind of in the back of my mouth sometimes. But yeah, antivirals really help. Keeping stress low really helps. Keeping myself healthy really helps. I notice that when I get a cold or when I get sick, my immune system is down, and that can be like when a sore can pop up. And you just have to be aware of it. It's just something that is like a normal part of my routine, and it's really no big deal. But in a first time outbreak, here's if you've never experienced this, or if you have and you want to kind of make sure that this is normal, you might also experience these symptoms. So fever, painful gums, a sore throat, a headache, muscle aches, swollen lymph nodes, and children under 5 years old may have cold sores inside of their mouths. And these sores are often mistaken for canker sores, right? Where a canker sore involves only the mucous membrane and it's not caused by the herpes simplex virus. And a canker sore also can happen if you chew on your inside of your cheek or your lip, or you bite your lip and like kind of like it, it hurts and it's a little painful, but that's a little different than what folks experience with herpes. So here's a question for when to see a doctor, right? So cold sores generally clear up without treatment, but here is when you should see your healthcare provider. If you have a weak immune system, if the cold sores don't heal within 2 weeks, if your symptoms are super severe, if the cold sores are returning more often than you think is typical, and if you have gritty or painful eyes. So it's just really important that you recognize these symptoms, that you're just aware that, if it doesn't feel normal or things are feeling strange or, not as you expect, just contact your healthcare provider, chat with them, go in, kind of see if they can see you and they can get a better look and kind of understand what's going on. But these, the typical experience is that people get them, they hurt for a couple of days. Maybe you get them outside of, or like around your mouth, then they'll go away. And so antivirals, if you want to take them when you get outbreaks, again, can be really helpful. There are also creams, as I mentioned, and just like take solace in the fact that this is common. Like a lot of people experience this. It is just another part of healthcare to, get the things that we need to manage our everyday lives. And again, like keeping your immune system healthy, like getting enough sleep, keeping stress down, eating healthily, exercising, like doing all the things that keep you stress-free and happy can also help prevent outbreaks. So just kind of keep that in mind. And yeah, thank you so much to the listener who wrote in this question. If you have a question that you want answered, there is nothing TMI. So email me and the team at sexedwithdb@gmail.com. And thank you all so much for listening. I hope you have a great rest of your day and week. And I look forward to chatting with you next week. Bye. Our creator, host, and executive producer is me, Danielle Bezalel. Our communications lead is Catherine Cohen. Our producer is Sadie Leegee. Our marketing coordinator is Mitch Coburn. Our social media coordinator is M. Kirsty Frazier. Our music theme is by Hook Sounds. Thanks so much to our featured guests, partners, and listeners. Want to partner with us? Email us at sexedwithdb@gmail.com. Do you have a silly sex story to share, need some advice, or have thoughts on the episode you just heard? Give us a booty call for a chance to be featured on the podcast. Check the show notes for the details. For more sex ed content, follow us on IG at Sex Ed with DB Podcast and on TikTok at Sex Ed with DB. Want to know your sex toy zodiac sign? Go to our link tree on our IG now. See you next time.